want to talk about my experience here in the Netherlands as a non-EU. So I've been in the Netherlands for a year and full month. I moved in the Netherlands a year and 4 months ago, around September, and around the time that I'm doing this video is January 26th. Um, yeah, it's noon right now, noon 5. So where can I begin? I will begin by the beginning, of course. Let's. I will begin with before I got here. So I was in Cyprus around that time, and I was looking for a place to go. I did a lot of research because I do speak English and French. I was looking at France and Belgium because I'll be able to adapt quicker there because already speak the language. But I wanted something different. I wanted something better, I guess, and also cheaper, something that I could afford, and somewhere where I would be accepted, with my documents because I'm African and mostly our documents aren't accepted in some universities or some countries. They just deem them as, you know, they just deem them as not, yeah, not sufficient or something. So you will hear stories of people that are doctors in Africa, but they travel, they do weird type of jobs that someone who didn't study can just do. So there's that. So I was really looking into, hey, where can I go? So for about the whole process of looking, picking, sending my letter, sending my documents took me about a year. Research everything. My first goal was to go to Germany, and because I saw somewhere that if you spoke German, you had a C1 level, then you could study for free. But I didn't know for that you still needed to be German. But my first guess was to just learn German and go to Germany. I wanted to learn the C1 level and I wanted to do it quick. I thought you could speak the German language at the C1 level in 6 months. So I went to Erasmus, that's the center there. It's also the same system that allows Europeans to travel throughout Europe and study here and study there. It's the same system. But then they also offer consultancy. They offered consultancy to me, so I went to them. I asked them, hey, I actually want to move to Germany. I want to learn German. I told them, hey, I want to learn German. They asked me why, and because there's this opportunity in Germany. If you go there, they told me, okay, you have to do better research. We can teach you German, but first of all, you have to know that in 6 months it is very hard for you to get to the C1 level unless you're one of those gifted people. But even if you did, why do you want to learn it? Then I explained to them because I want to move there. I heard about this opportunity of people that can study for free or for very little, just paying an administration fee and no tuition and stuff like that. Then they told me, yeah, you could do that, but mostly it's for citizens or EU people or EEA people. So it's gonna be hard for you to, even if you spoke the language, it's gonna be hard for you to get there. We can propose other countries. They listed Slovakia, Slovenia, Romania, Eastern Europe. Like, no, I don't want to go somewhere where I'm gonna struggle. I want to go somewhere where I might still struggle, but that I have a chance to making it. And I heard that a lot of Eastern Europeans were also moving to Western Europe. So if I wanted to go somewhere, I wanted it to be somewhere where my struggle is a little less, and then even if there's a struggle, I can still make it somehow. So the whole process took me about a year, preparing everything. Even after I got acceptation from the acceptation letter from the university, I had to send about 21,000 euros. So the way it works is you send 21,000 euros. That's to show that you have sufficient funds to live in the country because it's an expensive country. It is expensive to stay here, and 9,000 is about 9,000 is the tuition fee that you pay every year. It could change. It was 8,000, I guess, and then 600 for your 1 year insurance, 200 something for your um, visa application, and there's something else for your residence permit, something like that. So about 10,000, everything with tuition and visa and insurance. That's about 10,000, and 11,000 remaining. That's they're supposed to give it back to you when you land. You get a Dutch bank account, and then you have to live within 50 kilometers maximum away from your university. Then you can get that money refunded back to your account. That was how it works. That is how it works. And how much you pay mostly depends on your university, but mostly what they do is 21,000, 20,000. Those prices they range the same. The first year it is very hard to pay with installments. You have to pay in full. The second year, then you can pay with installments. So I moved. Yeah, I mean after paying, I was accepted. They sent me a letter to let me know, hey, we got the funds from you. Now next step is to get the MVV. The MVV is like from the government to let you know that hey, you have the authorization to get. It's like a visa, like an electronic visa. The visa before you get the visa on your passport. So as a non-EU, you might already know what this is. If you are EU, you don't know what this is because probably you haven't heard of it. So you get that MVV from the IND. IND is the immigration department of the Netherlands. They send you the letter, the school sends it to you, and everything is done through the school. The school's gonna apply for you, and they also send you a letter to tell you, hey, if there's, this doesn't mean that you're gonna get accepted, but for me, before I applied, I checked the acceptance rates for students. It was about 98, 99%, according to the statistics. And I also saw the reasons for which you could get denied, and part of those reasons, like any of those reasons, I met them. I was, if they said, hey, if your passport was expired or was nearly expired, things like that could get you refusal. So very common sense things that if you follow all rules, there's no way they're gonna not give you your authorization or MVV. Not like these other countries like America, I don't know, Canada, those countries where there's lottery and you might or might not get it. Even if you've done everything, the research, paid the money and everything, you might or might not get it. France or these countries, very hard. Netherlands, you pay your money, at least you get accepted. If of course everything is legal and you send the funds. So got there, got the letter. What I had to do, I had to go back to my country, to the embassy, and now get the visa on my passport, because from the visa on your passport, then you can leave your country to enter the Netherlands or any Schengen area. So went back there, flight ticket from Cyprus to my country about 1,500 euros. Went back there, I had to wait 1 more week. I gave my passport to the embassy, and then I had to wait 1 more week. They asked me a couple questions. Hey, what are you gonna do there? Why are you going there? I told them, hey, I'm going there for school, and this is my school. This is what I'm gonna do. Just a couple questions. A week later, they gave me the visa, and I was also kind of late. I came in the Netherlands late, and something that they don't tell you if you're coming to the Netherlands, they will tell you actually there's a terrible housing crisis. So if you are coming, make sure you have a house before you get here. Student accommodations are not a bad idea for the first year, because if you have nobody here, then that's what you're gonna have to do. If you don't really have anybody here, it's better to get a student place for the first year for you to figure out things, to get used to the system. Then after that you can move. But the first year, I really recommend that you have a place before you come here, because it takes about 1 to 3 months before you can find a place. So if you were thinking you could just come here, stay in a hotel till you get a place, it doesn't work like that. You'll be stuck at that hotel for 3 months, wouldn't be able to pay. So gotta keep that in mind. So I moved, had a place, not a student place. Fortunately, I knew someone knew someone, my aunt who lives in Sweden, she knew someone who lived in the Netherlands. So I didn't, because I'm not really the person who likes the student places. So I prefer to stay with that person. I stayed with that person for a month while I was looking for a place in the city of my school. I was lucky. I found a place in a month, but that doesn't happen. Mostly it takes you 3 months to find a place. So, and that's not the place where I am right now, Ed. That's also a big another story. But I found a place. I moved in. There's a couple things that you have to arrange when you are here. You have to when you get your insurance, you have to register yourself to yeah, it's not really a doctor, but a practice. You register yourself to a practice, and you don't really just see the doctor like this. Mostly Dutch people are gonna give you aspirin, you know. And if you are sick, they just tell you, hey, stay home, just rest. They're not really big on giving you big treatments like that. They will research. They will research your symptoms in front of you. You know, they might not know some stuff, and they will tell you, hey, okay, what do you think this could be from? What did you eat? That's kind of how they treat you when it comes to. They treat themselves, everybody else, and you included, when it comes to sickness and everything. So that's a complete different. It was, for me, it was a shock. If you are sick, you know, they have to take your blood and check this. And normally that's how it's done in my country, but here, no. They will ask you, hey, but did you drink some tea, or did you take some paracetamol, or yeah, stuff like that. So first thing is you have to register yourself in practice, and if you are a non-EU, you have to take this tuberculosis test. There's a center. Everything normally the school sends you like an information board, and you like a checklist that you have to have before you even travel. You there's a lot of stuff that you need to know, and normally the school sends it to you. Mostly my experience, I got when I came here. I of course got what I wanted. I was like, okay, this is definitely what I was looking for. I got to this place, definitely living up to the promises that I thought of the country, and the ideas that I had made myself of the country, that I thought the country would be. It is, yeah. Those expectations were met and exceeded as well, because everything just works, you know. Now the second step was to get a job, you know, because you are a student, but living in the country is expensive. They let you know that you need at least 11,000 euros without you working to be able to stay in the country, because otherwise it is hard for you to stay. That's not included the money that you have to pay to them, the tuition, you know. There's a problem. Non-EU people are not allowed, if you are a student, you're not allowed to work more than 16 hours per week. I do not know why they do that, but it's part of maybe protecting the jobs, the low-skilled jobs, something like that. It could be that. Before I was kind of mad at that, but after I kind of sat down and like, okay, maybe it's their country, and I could understand why they do that, because if they could just give out all the low-skilled jobs to people that come, then maybe the people that are from here or from the EU, they would not, the market of jobs will kind of collapse, you know, because students will come and they will be able to work. They might be able to accept lower wages, and then that could kind of make the market collapse. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, okay, maybe these type of countries will most likely want like high-skilled people, you know. So if you seek a job, you have to be really skilled, because part of the requirements, if they are hiring you, is okay, anywhere in the EU. That's the question that they ask to your employer if he's trying to hire you and you're not an EU person. What part of the requirement is to know if in anywhere a part of the EU they haven't found someone with your skills, you know. So can you imagine that? Like, you're looking for a job because you need a job to live, you know. The goal for coming here, mostly even for me, it's to be able to work and to get a better future for myself, my family, and all of this. But you get here and then you can only work 16 hours. That is definitely not enough to support yourself. You can support nobody with that. And it's not like you can just go find a job and work there. No, there are specific companies that have to have specific paperwork to be able to employ you. Otherwise, you can't. You know, working at a simple bar would probably or a club would be impossible because they don't have some paperwork that they need in order to get you to work with them. Because those companies that you're gonna have to work for, they have to apply something for you, and then you get a working permit, and then from that working permit, you can only work with that company. So that was also something hard that I had to find out while going through my learning phases in the Netherlands. You know, I had to learn how to open a bank account, and before you open a bank account, you need a BSN number, which is a social security number, and before you get that, you need to be registered, of course, in the house, whatever house you're living at. You need a contract, and you have to go to the gemeente or municipality where you're living at, and those people are the ones who are gonna register you in the system. Then you will get that BSN number. From getting it, then you can get the bank account. That BSN number, the social security number, is the most important thing in this country. If you don't have it, it is gonna be very hard for you to get by, because anything you're gonna do would have to do with that, because that's how that's how the country makes sure you are. That's how they identify you. You know, with a bank, anything. Just from that number, they can know where you are, where you come from, how long you've been here, any information about you. That's how they get it. So that's part of the most important things that you have to do, is to get that number. You know, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks. Mine took 1 week, but just depends on the municipalities where you're living at. Bigger ones might take more time because it's more people moving in there. Smaller ones will take less time because probably there's less people living there, and then they work faster, I guess. But yeah, very important. Mostly I had hardships finding jobs, because you totally be qualified for a job, but the employer would simply tell you that we do not offer visa sponsorship at that time. And that is hard. For a moment, I haven't worked for about 3 months, but luckily I had some savings, of course, because I didn't know. And when you come here, you of course have to be prepared. They tell you that after sending the money, you have to come with some money, because it might take some time before they reimburse you the money that they owe you. So even after you send 21,000, you still have to spend a lot more, because if you are coming from Africa, for example, as a non-EU, you have to pay for your plane ticket, your flight ticket from your home country to the Netherlands. You also have to have some money, because until you submit the form that hey, you are in the country, you get your BSN, you get your bank account, you get your resident permit, because until then you only have the visa on your passport. You also need a resident permit. Like, it's a card that allows you to travel and everything, even the visa, but it is important for you to get the resident permit and never to lose it, because it's your ID here. And yeah, so very important that you should remember the BSN number. So after that, when you get to the job scene now, you're trying to secure a job, trying to make some money, it becomes hard because, like I said, some jobs, some employers don't have the necessary paperwork to employ you. So my technique, of course, I went through about 3 months without working. Then I learned about what we call freelancing. Freelancing is about you being a you're like a business of your own. What you do is you have to register yourself at the KVK or Chamber of Commerce. You register yourself, you become a self-employed person. Then you can work for an employer, and then they pay you plus the VAT or BTV. They pay you those taxes, and every 3 months, depending on how you choose, you have to pay your tax turnover to the Belastingdienst or the tax, the IRS in like American type. And the problem also with that technique is not everybody is gonna hire you like that. You could be a freelancer, but it's very hard to get through. Like, freelancing contracts are not easy to get by. What is easier is for Dutch people is just to hire you as a normal person. Like, if you will be an EU person, you could just go with your card, they would just hire you and you would get the normal benefits of everybody else. What's more easier for them, employers, to do is to hire you like this without a freelancing contract because they have to pay your holidays and whatever. But if you're working as a freelancer, they don't pay all of that. There's so many stuff that is harder when you are a freelancer, which is much more easier if you just work as a normal worker. And those companies that will hire you, mostly they just want a normal worker. So it is hard for you to get a freelancing contract with them. And what's even harder is because when you move to this country, you might not speak Dutch. Like me, I don't speak it yet. I'm still learning it. If you live in a place where mostly it's Dutch, they also speak English. The level of English is very good, which is also part of the reasons why I came here. Though they speak English very good, they still, in a lot of jobs, they want you to know Dutch because they say it's part of safety reasons, it's part of this, it's part of any reason they might give you. They will tell you that they need you to speak Dutch, which could be very hard for you because you just moved in here. Like me, I just moved in here. How am I supposed to speak the language? And speak it so well that I could be in a work environment, you know? So that's also part of the difficulties that I was faced with when I came here looking for a job in that moment, you know? So my plan then became to learn a skill that is so important that they would have to hire me, you know, because I'm a high skilled immigrant. Then they can hire me easily. Then employers are gonna be more keen to get me a working visa than I can work for them. The other challenge is to be able to mix it up with school, because school is also taking a lot of time. You have to do research. You have to go to school also. Some classes do take attendance. So if you're missing classes, bad. Every year you have to get at least 30 credits. Every year has like 60 credits. And for you to be able to maintain a residence permit, you need at least 30 credits every year. For the first year, it could be a bit easier or harder, depending on where you came from, because the study environment is so different, you know? You have to adapt to new things, you have to adapt to new ways of learning and doing assignments. And it could be very overwhelming, but what's good about this system here is they give you a study coach. Every period you get a meeting with them, you get to talk, and then they can help you and give you some guidance to help you, I don't know, take a receipt or redo some exam, stuff like that, which is very important actually. But the challenges that come mostly, the challenge that I think I face mostly has to do with work. That is why I came up with that system of I have to learn some skills, and that is actually for everybody, because getting a job is hard for everybody, but it's even harder for you if you are non-EU, because what is easy is what? Those type of low-skilled jobs where you don't have to do much stuff, you only have to, I don't know, to take the phone or say hey, hi, those type of jobs. They will keep those type of jobs mostly for people that are EU and mostly people who speak Dutch, depending on where you are living. Those jobs will be easily filled by people that are from here, you know, or from the EU scene. If you're not, then you might have the competence, but because of your paperwork, because of the situation you are in, it will be very, very hard for the employer to hire you, because they simply cannot offer you sponsorship, visa sponsorship. That's the problem. And if they did, you could only work for them. That's also, I sit down and I'm thinking, okay, but if we are already paying this much to stay in the country, wouldn't it be a little bit fairer that we could also work full time? But yeah, it's part of a regulation. I'm very grateful to be in the country, so I'm not gonna go against that. For me, I like to think of it like what they want is highly skilled people in their country. And I understand, I respect that, the fact that you want skills only in your country. I respect that. I think it's a good way to go. So the way to go, I think, to if you want to really secure that big job, is to learn very important skills. I'm talking about being a plumber, electrician, those type of things where people don't really want to do them, or having something to do with digital, or you know, just very, you could just Google them, very important skills that the country you are moving in needs. You learn those, and then you apply yourself. It's not gonna be easy, but so far that has been my experience. I have traveled throughout the country, a very beautiful country. Everything works, like I said, everything works, but sometimes not everything works, and not everything works like it's supposed to. But overall, my experience has been a good one. I just think to get by here, you need to learn the skills. It's very important to learn skills because those skills are gonna be your selling points into the market. Because it's gonna be much more harder for you and for me because you're non-EU, but you still have a chance because I guess it's a free market. As long as you can offer them something that they don't have, they will take you.